Friends, good evening. Hope we are all doing well. Um, in today's discussion, we are going to share about the different challenges and the solutions which are attributed to learning, specifically uh, the ones which are most aligned with the learners which are having variation in learning, maybe due to the disability or maybe some of the compatibilities that they have existing between them. And in this session, we shall share according to the guidelines that have been given by the UDL, the Universal Design for Learning. Last time we saw that the Universal Design for Learning is just a learning or an educational framework which has been designed to allow all learners access learning by recognizing their abilities, their background, and also their learning preferences. So in this video or in this discussion, I want us to share briefly about the key barriers to learning, which is attributed to the key barrier which is attributed to learning according to the principles that have been set by UDL. Because we know that much as UDL has been brought in place, you get that there are some of the problems which are both engagement problems, the expression problems, and then also the action problems. So we are going to share briefly about how and those problems, the barriers, and also the solution to those problems. So to begin with, let us hear from our brother.
Okay, thank you everyone. Tonight, as we have already introduced you about what we are going to talk about tonight, briefly I'm going to talk about the barriers to learning. We know very well there are several barriers to learning. One of them, it can be structure, and some of them they can come as a result of inadequate facilitation. Now when we talk about structure, what do you mean? At times, at certain schools, they have certain classrooms which are not well structured, like well designed. In such a way that we find out that certain classroom, they have guest stairs, of which that one is inappropriate and unfavorable to the people like the lame. You know very well climbing stairs is something not simple. Another form, it can be lack of technology or underdeveloped technology. You find out that most of the areas, most of the equipment we use in technology in schools, like the computers, they lack specific software for certain people with disabilities, like the blind people. By that, automatically you have isolated them from education, and that learning they cannot take place because they lack what they require, what is relevant for them to learn. But as well, when you talk about the methodologies used by teachers, some of them they are consistent. They hold on to them. They don't want to adjust to them. Most teachers, they want to use their also only text method, of which is not favorable for people like blind. So those methods, it becomes a consistency barrier and a consistent one, because when you use only text method like writing on board, it is inappropriate to all learners.
Sure.
As well. When you continue and look at certain resources they are lacking in the schools, like for example, people with impairments, they are unable to read those normal textbooks, so they require something special like audio books so that they can reach them too. But certain schools, they lack that automatically. We are isolating them and neglecting them from studying. Yes, those are some of them big barriers. However, we can look about research challenges. At this moment, let also one of my colleagues continue to talk about some of the solutions which can be attributed, as well as learning is going to be facilitated.
So brother, what is your say about some of these barriers? How do you think we can help address these barriers using some of the principles and guidelines that have been given by UDL?
Okay, thank you very much. When you look at these barriers, immediately we see, looking at the first aspect, the first barrier which we may look at, it might be the issue of resources. And this one should be provided to students, especially when we look at the braille books, which are actually for the blind. Then we would also look at the aspect of technology integration Since there's limited technology, we need to bring out softwares like audiobooks, which would help us. Like when we focus on people with the aspect of they could not maybe be able to see, those on the blind, then the design of the infrastructure for the lab, we should improve on our aspect. We should bring about ramps. If possible, you can also bring lifts, which would help us to actually solve the problem of mobility of the lame. I think that's some of the most important solutions we can provide to this, majorly to our students who are unable to reach out to this. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have actually seen that much as UDL have tried to bring in some of the solutions, we as the members who are concerned with the learning issues of people with disabilities, we are supposed to do certain things. One of them is that you have talked about is the construction part, where we get that we should be fair equivalent to the lab, plus others that you have talked about. So we also have our sister here. What is your general say about the barriers and also the solutions about learning issues about learning issues concerning people with disabilities, and also some of the principles that universal design for learning has come up with? What is your say? What can you generally say about it?
Thank you so much. Basing on the discussion, it is very true that we have different categories of learners. We have also individual differences. So the different categories of learners, some of them they are disabled, some of them they are having disabilities, say maybe some are deaf, some are blind, some are lame. So now we also need to get a way of catering for all these kind of people. Say for example, maybe if I told you happen to find some of these people in your class, like my brother has been talking about some of the solutions that we can, or some of the principles that we can apply to cater for all those kind of learners. He talked about technological advancement, maybe use of
The leaves.
yes. Then also the blind book for the blind people, people who cannot see.
Sure.
Then maybe like restructuring the different infrastructures or the classroom. Like you see if a learner is a lame, he cannot climb upstairs.
Sure.
So we can bring something like lift to lift them, or maybe
The rams as well.
yes. So that is all I can say. Then by applying all these principles, the UDL, so I think we can solve this kind of problem and cater for the individual differences among the learners.
Yeah. Wow, this has really been so encouraging, and really we have seen that if we have tried to apply some of these solutions, you get that most of the barriers that learners with variations in ability, they will be in position to access learning regardless of their abilities, the background, and also the learning preferences. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that in nearby future, in different classes, we'll be in position to apply some of the things. Thank you so much.